Oh, my earliest memory was when I was probably 2 years old. And we lived probably a mile and a half from my grandparents. And Mother had this tremendous wicker buggy and put my brother and I in it. And the first memory I had was lots and lots of trees. It was a canopy of trees. And we walked through a cemetery to get there. Gorgeous, gorgeous trees. And that's my earliest memory of anything in particular. 1929. Mobile was small. I loved to play. I loved my friends to come over. The girls, we all loved hopscotch. And jump rope, very ordinary kid. I had the most wonderful parents, both of them. My mother was a tiny, tiny, small lady, very soft-spoken, never got angry, ever, ever. And my dad would lift his one blue eye, and that was all it took. He didn't have to say a word. We knew, walk a chalk line, walk a chalk line.
Walk a chalk line.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Behave yourself. I had one brother. His name was Finley. My brother was my best friend. Not that we didn't fuss and fight, we did. But he was a good guy. Finley and I were both quite small for our first Halloween. And my father took a shoebox and tied it up and put a candle in the bottom, and it glowed, and I thought that was the fanciest thing I had ever seen. We lived near a railroad track, and we'd ride up and down the railroad track on our bicycles. And my brother and I went everywhere on our bicycles, everywhere. But it was pretty. It was a pretty bicycle, too. I used to listen to Amos and Andy. Didn't care much about it. But my dad did, so we did. So we listened to it. We did whatever my dad wanted us to. Mother was a homemaker, and my father worked in the United States Post Office. After school, we did our homework and things like that. But we came to the dinner table, and my father always was dressed for dinner, always. Coat and tie, the works. And I can never remember him not being in a coat and tie. Didn't impress me, it was just my dad, and Mother was always in the kitchen. Of course, I didn't have chores, but I loved to help my mother. So I was always in the kitchen with her, and she was a marvelous baker. That was her hobby, I guess you'd say. She made a cake every Friday, plus pies and things in between. When I got married, I thought, that's what you did on Friday. You made a cake. Till I discovered that 2 people cannot eat a cake in a week. I was a young girl and we went to town, and it was an excursion because we went by streetcar, which I always became ill riding a streetcar, motion sickness, but it was fun. We went to Cress's, which was a five and dime, and had a wonderful time. We'd go in there and get a Coke or something like that. When we went to town with my mother, we'd always get ice cream, stop at a drugstore and have ice cream and sit around the table. And they had the aluminum cups that you put the ice cream in that frosted up, which I thought was extremely special. But growing up in Mobile was wonderful. It really was. We didn't lock our doors. Our windows were always open. When we'd have slumber parties, the girls would go out in the street, because, as I said, there was no traffic there. And we'd walk around and play in the streets. And That was fun. We went on Saturday to the movies. All the teenagers went to the neighborhood movies. Yeah, my first day when I was 16, yeah. We went on a hayride and a midnight movie, which I had never been to. And somehow we got left out. And I had to call my dad, and he had to come way from Mohawk Street to the Sega Theater. And my dad did not like to drive. Did not like to drive. So that was, I kind of walked on eggs with that one.
Did you get in trouble much?
Never. My father and my brother were in the Marine Corps. And during the war, Second World War, my dad won a Purple Heart. Yeah, he saved his commander and got the Purple Heart. My brother was in the Korean War, and my mother was devastated that he was in Korea because it was so dangerous. And she cried a whole lot. She worried a whole lot. It was a terrible experience. A long time ago, 1949, his name was Edwin Lewis, but we didn't call him that. We called him E.L. My children are the lamp of my life. I adore them. When Nancy came along, she was a tiny little girl that weighed barely 5 pounds. She's the light of my life. She's wonderful. Then when Michael came along, he was terribly spoiled. He was asthmatic and had to be in a tent for a good long while. And I spoiled him rotten, really rotten. But he turned out very nicely. He loved going hunting, fishing with his dad. He went 3 or 4 years old, went in the fields with him. He retrieved the birds that they got. Went fishing the first time he went fishing. He didn't make it to the bathroom. Looked down and said, I sweated in my pants. And we have a picture of it, which is priceless. Michael always was in the boat. He loved to fish. And so I had Michael and a couple of his friends in the car and trailing them to the bayou. Well, the bayou, getting to the bayou from our house was curves after curve after curve. And things were going real good until we started turning on the curve. And guess what? There was a boat that was coming up beside me. I looked at it, couldn't believe it. Turned and looked, it was our boat. It passed me. It went into the gully, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what happened. Well, I finally was stopped, and we got some guys to help us get the boat out. And I discovered that I didn't have it latched to the ball on the car that you're supposed to latch a boat to. Well, getting to the Gulf was another excursion. We went for a month. So we took everything but the kitchen sink to the beach. And I had the barbecue pit in the back of the car. Got on a little hill and out flew the barbecue pit in the middle of the road. When Nancy was older and we used to have 13 girls and 5 boys to stay for the 3 weeks that we were there. And the girls loved for me to get in the shower because they'd take my underwear and put it in the freezer. Have you ever put on cold underwear when you, I mean, never a dull moment, never a dull moment. Daniel started fishing with my husband. He was about 3 years old when E.L. died. And I was determined that he was going to fish. He loved to fish initially when he was 3 years old. And so I took him fishing. Always, even when he was in school, we lived next to a park that had fishing. And I took Daniel after school fishing in the park. He got a 7.5 pound bass that I had mounted for him. And Drew was the Lego kid. He built Legos, large enough that you'd save them and think you've still got one in the attic at home. Well, I love my children. I love my grandchildren. But my great-grandchildren are special. Well, I can remember when Stella Jane came along. She was the light of my life then, that I stayed with her until she could walk. And I remember so vividly the whiteout we had.
It was the most snow I've ever seen.
And I had never seen snow before.
Yeah. 3 or 4 days. I don't honestly have any recollection of you moving away from that potbelly stove. You were like, I can't move.
I know it. And I slept in a parka with a hood on.
Great grandmother.
That no, hey, you got it right. I am great. I think it sounds good
I
to
got a
me.
question for you,
Yeah,
Becca.
sure. Growing
What
up,
is your favorite animal?
I guess a dog.
My favorite
Not
animals
cats.
are rats.
Diane and Nancy rescued a feral cat. So I told them, no wild cats in the house. Just don't like cats, don't want them in the house. And I was going in the linen closet for heaven knows what. And this wild cat comes out, jumps on me. I thought I was going to have a fit right there. And I did. And I did. That was the end of the cat. And I haven't liked cats since.
Did the cat live?
Yeah. He went back to being the feral cat again. I despise cats with a passion.
Of all the garages
in the
There was a
neighborhood.
cat born in your garage.
Yeah. Meanest damn cat you ever saw. And she was a baby,
Right.
Well, the cat bit her. But that was the end of the cat.
What happened to the cat?
You don't want to know.
We would have almost every holiday meal was at your house.
That's right.
And you had that big long table and you had that chandelier with all those crystals.
Crystals. The girls would take the prisms off the chandelier and put them on the ears. I like to cook.
You did.
I like to cook.
Oh my God.
Mostly I love fried chicken. Oh gosh.
What's your favorite?
I have loved chicken since I was knee-high. Fried chicken and fruit salad. Carrot salad. Love carrot salad.
And everything is very fancy for Gran. You have to take, if you have a radish, if you cut it just so, it'll look like
A rose.
a rose. And if you have, perchance, a watermelon, you can make it look like a baby carriage if you just have the knife skills of a ninja. And you take bell peppers and make it look like a ribbon on it, so it would look like a present at Christmas. And you can also, let's add the tomato peel. Can you take the,
Oh, the peel of the tomato and make a rose.
yeah, as you do.
I like it.
Oh,
Presentation is everything. All of these 90 years, I wouldn't change my life one bit. I wish that my grandchildren have wonderful lives and do a wonderful job with their children. I'm telling you, that's a lot of years, isn't it? And I'm excited because I've got you there. My big boy.
Good boy.
Oh, both of you. Mwah. Peter, up here. Give me a smooch. Having nice manners is very important. Kindness. Have a good time, all of you. And one other thing that I want to emphasize is love your brothers, and your brothers love your sister with all of your heart, because they're going to be with you for a long, long time.
Happy birthday, dear Gaga. Happy birthday to you. Eat more cake.
Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful weekend that I've had and the opportunity to be with all of y'all. I appreciate it with all of my heart.